Hello everyone, Nightmare Nemo here, and welcome to Scary Town, the Goosebumps review show. This week we're covering the second arc of Horrorland with the second book, and it's Little Shop of Hamsters. There's the back there. You'll notice that there is a horror dressed as a chef, and that's going to be like an ongoing thing with these books. They're going to just show horrors in the back dressed in different outfits. And then it says, Instant Grow Pet, amaze your friends with a giant creature. So there's that. And also says there's no escaping the horror, which goes along with the second arc of Horrorland. Because I'm sure a lot of people at the time thought that once the first arc of Horrorland was done, and then that was it. But no, it's so popular that they continue doing it. Alright, so if you're not familiar with the new format of the Horrorland books, is there's a three-part structure to the story. The beginning starts out with the kids in Horrorland, and then they go into Chiller's gift shop, get some gifts that will play into the main story, second part, and then the third part is a very short epilogue that just ties everything together from the main story, and the kid is sucked back into Horrorland, and it ends there. And all the stories are interconnected. And so the main story of Little Shop of Hamsters is Sam and his friend Lexi. They find a new pet shop in town that specializes in only hamsters. It's very bizarre. But basically, Sam really wants a pet, and his parents won't let him because they don't think he's responsible enough. Him and Lexi apply for a job at the pet store, and Mr. Fitz runs it, and even though he doesn't really need help, he's like, okay, I'll help these kids out anyways, because, he figures it's a good cause. The kids are working there, everything's fine, and the two gifts that they get from Chiller's gift shop are a candy phone. It's pretty unassuming. You see them at the grocery store, just a phone made out of plastic for kids to have, and it's filled with candy instead of like electronics, whatever. And then the second thing is a box of Instant Grow Pets, which are like these spongy, tiny little things. You probably remember them from your childhood. They come in like this 12-pack or whatever. They're these little tiny little sponges. You pour water on them, or you dunk them in water, and they grow into like these big sponges. I had some that were dinosaurs, and it was pretty cool. But as a kid, you always imagine it's gonna become like this giant thing, and the story actually goes with that. What you think? So that's why at the beginning it says oh, this is a giant creature gonna come out. So that happens. It's not really a spoiler. So something terrible happens. As Sam is cleaning one of the cages, he actually physically get inside the cage because the cage is so big with all the hamsters in it. He goes inside, and he had the candy phone in his pocket, and it falls out, and some of the candy drops out of the candy phone, and some of the hamsters eat it, and it makes them go crazy, feral, and they start attacking him. Like, they want him to give them more candy out of the candy phone, and this kind of spirals out of control. So he leaves the cage and thinks everything's fine, and as he's going home, he realizes his pockets are empty. He left the candy phone in the cage. So he can't go back because the store's closed. So the next day, he's at school, and he doesn't really care about anything that's going on. Just this one focus is after school I'm just going to bolt to the pet store. And so he gets back to the pet store. Everything seems fine. But as he's physically there next to the cage of the hamsters, he notices a lot of them are like looking at him like very intently, like shh, like a death glare at him. And like so it goes on from that. The hamsters become more feral. He tries to get the candy phone while inside the cage, and he gets attacked again, and it goes into a really bizarre twist at the end, and it's pretty ridiculous. Like, at the time I didn't really like it, and it kind of lessened my opinion of the book overall. But now that I've had like a week to think about it, mull it over my head, it's a pretty typical one of those goosebump twists that just it's really corny and just from out of left field, but it fits with Goosebumps, and so I can't really complain too much. And then it gets into the epilogue, and is just basically carry on. There's no big relevant revelations there really, and it's just building into the end of the story arc, where we're gonna have the full book of Chiller and finding out what his master plan is by kidnapping all these kids. So I don't know, we'll see. Things that I didn't like about the book, other than the twist is kind of stupid, but I mean it's fine. It keeps with way Goosebumps is, so it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. I will say Sam's little brother is particularly annoying. I mean, he's only 3 years old, but he's spoiled rotten. Like, his parents really think he's funny, and even Lexi thinks the world of him as well. The only one that doesn't like him is Sam, and the reader. Any time that's spent on him, it's just like, oh god, this make it stop. I'm like, it's like nails across the chalkboard. It's irritating. Thankfully, though, there's not a lot of time spent on showing him, so it's more of a nitpick, really. But the nature of the story, the concept of rabid hamsters is really ridiculous. It keeps the nature of Goosebumps, but it's not a really great selling point for Goosebumps, because as far as like a story that grabs the reader's attention, and especially coming off of the first book in this story arc, When the Ghost Dog Howls, which was an excellent story, just all around this really awesome story that was a bit more complex as far as the plot structure, yet it was able to be very entertaining. And this, I mean, not to knock Little Shop of Hamsters, but it is not as great as what it came before it, so there's that. So it's a little disappointing. So yeah, as far as good things, I actually really like the characters of Sam and Lexi, their friendship. Mr. Fritz is kind of an interesting character himself. He's pretty lovable, and yeah, I just really like the characters. Definitely Sam's dilemma of trying to get a pet is very relatable. Kids are looking to grow up, and having a pet is great, but there's a lot of responsibility with that, so it's very, very relatable for kids, and it's nostalgic to think as adults reading it as well. So that's my review of Little Shop of Hamsters. Kind of a weaker entry in this new story arc, but still worth reading. It's still entertaining. It's just not nearly as good as the first book, When the Ghost Dog Howls. So there's that. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with another review.